Okay, so ready for another deep dive?
Always.
Awesome. So today we're tackling a question about Nigeria.
Okay.
Someone wants to know more about the states, and specifically the languages spoken there.
Interesting. Sounds like a good one. A simple question, but I think we can really get into some interesting stuff.
Yeah, I'm already kind of curious. I know a little bit about it, but not too much. So maybe first, just how many states are we even talking about in Nigeria?
So Nigeria currently has 36 states.
So 36. Wow. Okay. And I'm assuming that number hasn't always been the same, right?
No, not at all. I mean, it's changed over time as, different needs arose. And I guess maybe we'll get into that.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so 36 states. And now the big question. Languages, right? How many languages
Yeah.
are we talking about? And which ones?
Yeah, so, I guess the most obvious one is English.
Right, being the official language.
Exactly. It's a legacy of British colonialism, so that's why that's kind of the main language. But what's really fascinating is that there are literally hundreds of other languages spoken across the country.
Hundreds.
Yeah.
Whoa. Okay, so I'm already imagining, like, logistically, how does that even work? Right?
Huh.
Like, how do people in different parts of the country even communicate?
That's a really good question. It's complex, for sure. But, a lot of people speak their local language, of course, but they'll also know one or of the major languages.
Gotcha. So it's like some key languages that bridge those gaps.
Exactly.
So, like, which are those kind of more major languages?
So I guess the most widely spoken are Hausa, Yoruba, and Igbo.
Okay. I've heard of those.
Yeah. And they're spoken, in different regions, different parts of the country.
So tell me a little bit more about, like, one of them, like Hausa, for instance. Like, where is it spoken? What's
Yeah.
kind of its deal?
Sure. So Hausa is mainly spoken in the north of Nigeria. And actually, it's part of a language family that's like super old, like the Afroasiatic family.
Yeah.
And get this, this connects it to languages all the way in the Middle East.
What? Really?
Yeah.
That's blowing my mind right now. Okay, so that's just one language. So what about, like, Yoruba?
Right. So Yoruba is mainly spoken in the southwest, and it's part of the Niger-Congo family. This one's the largest in Africa by number of languages, actually.
Wow, okay. So huge.
Yeah, huge. Tons of languages in that family.
Wow. Okay, so, I mean, thinking about this, right? It's 36 states. It's hundreds of languages.
Yeah.
A lot of them have these ancient roots. Like, how does all of this play out in daily life for people in Nigeria?
Yeah, I mean, it's everywhere, right? It's in the education system. It's in the government. It's, how people interact, how they make art, everything.
Yeah, I'm just imagining, like, trying to get around a marketplace or something and, like, all these different languages swirling around you. That's got to be pretty intense.
It is. It's definitely a unique experience, but I think also kind of a beautiful thing in a way.
Yeah. Okay, so if we can, like, distill this whole conversation down, right? Like, if someone is walking away from this deep dive, thinking about Nigerian languages, what's, like, the big takeaway? What's the thing that's important to kind of remember about all of this?
That's a good question. I guess the biggest takeaway for me is that this diversity, it's not just about the number of languages. It's really a window into, the country's history, its culture, how people live their lives. And I think in Nigeria's case, it really showcases this incredible ability to weave together all these cultures through language. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, yeah. I'm getting that sense. So I'm kind of curious, though, right? With all this diversity, do people ever worry about national unity? Like, is it ever a concern that all these different languages might, pull people apart?
That's a really interesting question. And honestly, one that deserves a lot more time and discussion, probably more than we have right now. But it really gets to the heart of, what are the challenges, but also what are the opportunities that come with this much diversity?
Right.
Something to think about.
Definitely food for thought.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a really, really interesting dive. I'm kind of amazed by the sheer scale of it all.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, to our listeners, I mean, go out there, keep exploring, keep learning. There's just so much out there about Nigeria.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a fascinating place.
For sure. All right. Well, until next time.
Should be them.